Welcome to the SEC Unfiltered channel. I am your host, Dave Shumate, head college basketball analyst here. Phenomenal day. We get to react to 8 games, really about 7.5. Excuse me for my voice here. A little congested. I've been having a little cold, but hey, we're going to get through this one night. Appreciate you folks joining us. South Carolina, folks, I know we're starting a little early. It's not officially over. We officially have not been able to put this Saturday of SEC basketball to rest officially. South Carolina, I got it on the tube right here, YouTube TV, shameless YouTube TV plug, unless they keep raising the prices on us like we all know. But in all seriousness, 72-61 lead for the Gamecocks right now. Could they get their first win? Could they do it? Could they do it, folks? 3:13 remaining. We will get to that one. I will keep you updated on that one, guys. But this reaction brought to you by our friends over at FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $150 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Ladies and gentlemen, please go visit our friends over at FANDUEL. Phenomenal lines, plenty of things to go gamble on. Hell, I mean, we're an SEC channel, but you got UConn St. John's to go gambling on tomorrow. So I'm going to give you that one as well. Again, we'll keep you monitored on this Texas and South Carolina game. Just some things to keep off the top of my head here. Like bubble teams. You had Oklahoma today getting a big win. Arkansas getting a big home win. You have some bubble teams stepping up. Georgia played well. Going on the road at Neville. I mean, that's not going to do anything for you in the Metros almost winning. But again, the bubble teams stepped up as they had to. Again, corrections 101 talking here. OU trying to sneak into the tournament. He's right. But let's get right into it. Leading off, which I think was the best game of the day, honestly. Really, I mean, went down to the wire. Looked like A&M was going to get out to a quick leading, maybe run away and hide. I don't know. It may be a little too early to say that, but Tennessee's the 77-69 win in College Station. Tennessee shoots 42% from the field, 48% from beyond the arc. Texas A&M 39%, 16% from behind the arc. Again, that's kind of the difference there. Again, Tennessee always going to pull you into their style, try to drag you into the mud, play your style. Both these teams, similar styles, for being honest. What was the free throw differential here? 20. Oh, they both had 20 free throw attempts. Nice. 38-29. Rebounding advantage for A&M here. Turnovers 10-12. Not much difference again. +2 there for Tennessee. Points off turnovers, 2-point difference, 17-15. I mean, really, as points in the paint, 12 more for A&M. But really, the difference was how bad A&M shot. I mean, 48.1% from beyond the arc to A&M 16.7%. I mean, that's the game. And Chaz Lanier was the story, folks. 30 points, 10 for 18 from beyond the arc. But really allowed Tennessee to get back in that game. I mean, what was it, 17-6 at one point? Allowed Tennessee to get back in the game. I mean, he was 5 for 5 from beyond the arc at one point. I mean, that was his best game by far. Like I mentioned, 30 points. Sky Ziegler was 16. And then you had Jordan Gainey with 14 off the bench. Again, wasn't a high-scoring affair, 77-69. Not a lot, but still efficient day offensively for Tennessee. 42% from the field, 48% from beyond the arc, 90% from the free throw line, 18 for 20. So very efficient shooting the basketball today on the road, and that's what it's going to take. And the turnovers limited to 10 on the road. So it's about as – that's Tennessee's offensive ceiling right there. I think that's fair to say. Wouldn't we say that, people in the comments? That's Tennessee's probably offensive ceiling right there. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't think you could see a better offensive performance. But for the Ags, 14 from Anderson Garcia, 15 Zurich Phelps, 18 Wade Taylor. I mean, combined, Phelps and Wade Taylor were 1 for 16 from 3. I don't care where you play that game. I don't care if you play it Reed Arena like they played it. That's not going to get it done. Bench wasn't great either. Pharrell Payne, 6. Jace Carter, 3. Got nothing from Hayden Hefner or Manny Obeseki. 0 points. I mean, C.J. Wilcher hit a 3, only 3. But, yeah, bench points were not great for the Aggies there. Tennessee, though, they were going to be off the 1-seed line, I think, for good for the rest of the year if they lost today. Went into town, got a big boy win. I think it's a 3-man race now for that second SEC #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. I think Auburn and Duke and probably Houston. As Houston keeps going on, about to clinch the Big 12, I think they'll ultimately get a 1 seed. I really think the second one or the final 1 seed, maybe the third 1 seed, depending on where you rank them, is going to come from the SEC. Florida, Alabama, Tennessee. I think it is. And the fun thing is, we still get to see Alabama play both Tennessee and Florida down the stretch. But what's up next for the Tennessee Volunteers and Rick Barnes at LSU on what's that? 25th is what? When's on Tuesday night at Alabama at home on Saturday at Ole Miss, and then they host South Carolina to finish their manageable stretch. Again, that Alabama game will be big Saturday, but that's a Thompson-Boling Arena, and that's a tough place to go get a win. Tennessee's had Alabama's number in the last, I think, 3 appearances. So, again, very manageable schedule at LSU, Alabama at home, at Ole Miss, South Carolina. Again, no easy schedule. Alabama and at Ole Miss will be tough, but you can't sleepwalk into Baton Rouge, as we've seen, but it's as manageable a schedule as you could hope. For Texas A&M, what is up next for Buzz Williams and the boys? They host Vanderbilt on Wednesday night, go to Gainesville next Saturday. I think College Game Day will actually be there. Auburn at home, and then at LSU. So a little bit more difficult of a schedule with these next 3 against Vanderbilt at Florida. And they got the big showdown at home. Maybe get a big win against Auburn next midweek. So that'll be interesting for the Aggies there. Aggies drop them. Aggies drop, though. Here, I mean, that's why it's big finishing in the top 4. Tennessee is now 9-5 in league play. A&M is now 9-5. Tennessee will have that tiebreaker over the Texas A&M Aggies. Where do we want to go to next? Where do we want to go to next? Let's go. Let's talk about this one. Auburn, the number 1 team, the unanimous number 1 team, folks, getting the 82-70 win over Georgia. And it really was not as easy as that. I thought Georgia actually played one of their really good game plan there. It took away Auburn's took their ability to shoot 3-pointers. I thought they did a really good job. For whatever reason, Mike White always has a really good game plan against Bruce Pearl. Even in losses, at times, it's a good game plan. But I thought they did a really good job of kind of taking that away as well as anyone else has done against Auburn. I mean, Auburn was 6 for 22 from beyond the arc. Both teams got 22 shots from beyond the arc. 27% for Auburn, 31% from Georgia. Both teams didn't shoot great from beyond the arc. Both weren't great. I mean, Auburn 42% of the field, 38% for Georgia. I thought Georgia had, again, really good game plan. This game was pretty back and forth, pretty even. I mean, Georgia shot 76% from the free throw line. Auburn 78, rebounds 40-35, turnovers 13-8. That was a big difference. I mean, points off turnovers were 11 for Auburn, but still Georgia got 9 points off turnovers, a little bit more, but Georgia capitalized. Largest lead was 12. And Georgia never led in this game, folks. You never thought Auburn was really going to lose this game, but Auburn, I think overall, guys, didn't play that great this week. When you go back to the Arkansas game, and Arkansas was playing better. Again, played well at Auburn, got a big win tonight against Missouri. But I think from this perspective, it wasn't Auburn's best week. But it's, again, that's why I say Auburn's floor, they have the highest floor in college basketball, and it's probably not even that close. I mean, again, we didn't think they played well offensively, still 82 points. Shania Broom, 31 points. Walking double-double, as I always call him. Again, 31 points, 11 for 18 from the field, just very efficient, 36 minutes, 14 rebounds. Man, just dominant performance. 11 for Chad Baker-Mazara, 17 for Denver Jones, Miles Kelly with 11. And is it Chad Baker-Mazara's just, again, he got on a review and he got a double technical. I thought it's something he really wasn't even involved in. But when you put a target on your back like he does at times during these games, you're going to get some calls. Like even the flash in the Auburn jersey against the Arkansas on, Wednesday night. And then he did it again today, but they didn't call it. Again, he's kind of just an easy target. He brings it on himself, but I thought he kind of got mixed up a little bit. They kind of gave him they gave him a technical for something he really wasn't even that involved in, if we're being honest. For Georgia, thought a big night for Asa Newell, going back and forth with Janai Baroon. Both of them had big nights. 20 points for him as well. But I thought that was good for the freshman to go up against a guy. That Silas Demery was fine going back and forth. Georgia played with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder on the road I hadn't seen all year. I'd seen Georgia in person on the road at Coleman Coliseum in Tuscaloosa a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't seen Georgia play with this edge. They look like they thought they could go win this game. Now, again, did I think Auburn was ever going to lose this game? No, but I was impressed by Georgia. Again, it's not going to matter in the metrics, but they looked a little like they had some life, like a couple other bubble teams. But big one for Georgia, or big one for Auburn, just to keep moving on. They got a really 3 game lead in the SEC right now. Is they keep winning, putting bigger distance in between everybody else. Host Ole Miss midweek, at Kentucky on Saturday, at Texas A&M, and then host Alabama. So not an easy stretch. I mean, top 25 teams, and you got 2 top 10 teams left. So Auburn, final 4 games against top 25 teams. Probably about 2 wins away from really wrapping this thing up, I think. About 2 wins away from wrapping this thing up. For Georgia, Georgia has Florida coming up midweek at Texas, which may be a loser leave town game, folks. Georgia, Texas, especially with Texas. I mean, right now we got 79-65, South Carolina with a minute and a half left. I don't think they're going to drop this one in Columbia. I think you can give this one to South Carolina. But, man, that could be a loser leave town. Next Saturday, 7 p.m. on ESPN2. That may be with the must watch right there. At Georgia at Texas is going to be a showdown. Kind of a play-in game. And then they go at South Carolina and host Vandy. So winnable games. Winnable games. You're going to have to at least go 2-2 down the stretch, but even 2-2 only gets you to 6 wins. I don't know. Georgia's going to have to go steal one for somebody. That Texas game is going to have to be essentially a must-win for them from that perspective. Moving on from that one, where do we want to go? Let's go. Excuse me. Let's go Florida right here. Let's go Florida right here. I think it's the second best team. Again, maybe spoiler alert here. Maybe spoiler alert. Going to move them to the number 2 in the power rankings this week, folks. Going to move them to number 2 in the power rankings, I think, this week, folks. Getting the 79-65 win over LSU. Dominant second half. Remember, folks, LSU took a halftime lead here at the PMAC. I mean, this was not just some walk in the park here. I mean, this was a 37-31 lead for LSU, a 6-point lead at the half. But Florida outscored them by 20 points in the second half. Just a dominant performance by Todd Golden and them. I think they are the second best team in the conference right now. I do. Me and myself and Chris Phillips did a video. If you want to go check it out from last week, who's the second best team in the league after Auburn, Alabama, or Florida? I think after this week, this is before the midweek games. I think you got to go Florida at this point. Florida shoots 44% from the field, 31% from beyond the arc. LSU shoots 38% from the field, 29% from beyond the arc. Free throws 14-12. Florida shot 2 more. Florida dominated the boards by 15. Turnover 7-5. I mean, nobody really turned the ball over that bad. It wasn't that, but points in the paint dominant. And that's where you can get LSU is points in the paint. It's 44-24, 20-point advantage right there. So really on the boards, in the paint, just the paint across the board, Florida ended up dominating across the board. The largest lead, 18. LSU got it up to 8. I mean, for Florida, a lot of this damage was done in the second half. 16 for Thomas Hall. Ruben Chienlu was awesome. 19 points, 13 boards. Walter Clayton, 13. Elijah Martin, 14. Nothing for Will Richard to go in there. And then Denzel Aberdeen, who's, I think, one of the X factors in this league, 11 points. 11 points. So you like what you see there for LSU. Curtis Givens led the starters in scoring with 11, but Robert Miller, the third, came off with 19. Mike Williams gave him 10. Cam Carter with only 7 tonight. Wasn't as good as he has been. Same with Victorious Miller and Damian Collins. Miller with 3 and Collins with 8. What is coming up for the Gators? Remember, the Gators are fighting for a 1 seed, folks. Again, I think they're in that group with Bama, Tennessee, fighting for that last number 1 seed in the SEC. Either they're the 3rd overall number 1 seed or the 4th. But what's next? The last 4, you play at Georgia, Texas A&M at home, at Alabama, and then Ole Miss at home. So, most people have at least – the league's so good. At least 3 of your last 4 games are very winnable. And that's why I think Missouri's schedule down the stretch is pretty manageable. Even Florida here has got 3 top 25 teams in the season on. So, very, very tooth and nail. Them in Tennessee and Alabama fighting for that 1 spot. Again, that game against Alabama on March 5th in Tuscaloosa will be a big one. And against Dayton. All these will be. Coming up for LSU, folks, the Tigers dropped to 3-11 in league play. Now, again, not going to make the tournament. You have to do win the SEC tournament. Host Tennessee on Tuesday, go to Mississippi State on Saturday, host Kentucky, and then finish up with Texas A&M. So a tough stretch down the tough stretch down the stretch. I should say, some tough games down the stretch for LSU and Matt McMahon, and a tough season. They're retaining him. We'll see. They got to invest some in that personnel, though. They do. But tough loss for LSU. Played really well in the second half, but give Todd Golden them credit. Dominant second half for his group. For Florida, smell. They wonder who's finishing second in the SEC. I think Auburn, again, not officially, If you're an Auburn fan, you got to feel pretty good about winning the SEC regular season at this point. Who's going to finish second? Who's going to get a number 1 overall seed? Is really what the Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida fans are discussing. Speaking of the Crimson Tide, let's go to them. Alabama getting a 96-83 win over Kentucky. Kind of really a tell of two halves. I mean, Bama got off to a rough start. Again, another bad start. They were down 12 at one point again. But really from that about 9-minute mark on in the first half on, they locked down defensively. They went into half. They're down double digits in the first half, took a 7-point lead, almost a double-digit lead at the half, a 9-point almost. And then outscored Kentucky 49-43 in the second half. I mean, defense wasn't overly great, but really from that 9-minute mark in the first half to the rest of the game, it was better. And Kentucky was shorthanded, missing Jackson Robinson, missing Lamont Butler. We knew that. But Bama getting a 96-83 win. Bama shoots 52% from the field, 35% from beyond the arc. Kentucky 42% from the field, 34% from beyond the arc. Free throws, 25. Kentucky 22, not much difference. Bama 84%. That was big. Kentucky wasn't bad either. 72%. Bama out rebounds Kentucky by 4 + 4. Turnovers, Bama with 15, Kentucky with 13. This is the highest turnover game. But again, it's kind of because of pace. Both these teams like to get going. But points in the paint, Bama 38-34. Largest lead, Bama 15. Largest lead, 12 for Kentucky. That was in the first half. I mean, really, the difference was Bama stepping up defensively in that second half. I mean, it really was what it was. And then Mark Sears coming on these last 2 games. I know it was a loss against Missouri, but I mean, he's put up, 65 points in the last 2 games? I mean, Sears 30 points for 8 of 17 from the field, 3 of 8 from beyond the arc, 11 points from Clifford Amore, had 15 rebounds. I was telling somebody in the middle of that game, Clifford Amore's got to step up. He looks a little banged up, but 15 boards told you really from that. He was kind of the story of Bama's defense. Without that 9-minute mark on in the first half, through the rest of the game, stepped up to an extent. Not the best defensive performance you've ever seen? No. But they did step up and played better and showed more effort. As we all know, defense, if you have long, athletic guys, you play with effort, you can go a long way, folks. 14 from Chris Youngblood as well, 5 for 8 from the field, 3 for 5 from beyond the arc. 19 points for Aiden Holloway, again, 5 for 12 from beyond the arc. For Kentucky, Kobe Bryant was big, 20 points. Amari Williams, I think he's been coming on, getting more comfortable, 17 points. Andrew Carr, looking a lot healthier. That back injury looks like it's going away a little bit. 17 points, 6 of 9 from the field, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. I like what I saw with him do, 6 boards. Amari Williams was 11 as well. If Kentucky can get a little bit healthier, and Jimmy Dykes was saying this as well, and again, I don't think Kirk Crease is coming back, but you could get Lamont Butler. I think you will get him back, and you'll get Jackson Robinson at some point. You're building depth with guys like Travis Perry, Trent Noah. You're building that depth. Colin Chandler. You're building that depth. So down the stretch, it may help Kentucky here, but Bama get the 96-83 win. Bama improves to 22-5, 11-3 in conference play. Kentucky drops to 18-9, 7-7 in league play. Again, Bama, just like Florida, in the hunt for that second seed in the SEC, most likely, not speaking yet, and trying to get a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. What is next for Bama? Toughest 7-game stretch left in college basketball. Last 4 are going to be tough. Host Mississippi State on Wednesday. I feel like they need that one. They really need that one. So I'm telling you, Tennessee winning at A&M tonight shifted that a little bit. It doesn't give Florida and Bama as much wiggle room because Tennessee's legitimately in this now after going on the road and winning College Station. But Mississippi State at home on Tuesday, at Tennessee, Florida at home next midweek, and then finishing it off at Neville Arena at Auburn. And that last 3, playing 3 top 6 teams at Tennessee, Florida at home, and at Auburn. They need to beat Mississippi State at home. They need to win that, and they should. They should. Then, you'd be fired up if they got one of the last 3 at Tennessee, Florida, and Auburn. You'd be ecstatic if they went 2-1. 3-0. Wow. But Bama, tough. Some tough games down the stretch. Kentucky at Oklahoma coming up in the midweek. Then they host Auburn this next weekend. LSU at home at Rupp Arena, then at Missouri to end the year. Kentucky just trying to fight to get to that top 4 spot and probably resting some guys to, hey, down the stretch, we may not get a top 4 spot if I'm speaking as Mark Pope. But you know what? We can at least be healthy going into the NCAA tournament. Let's try to go get to that second weekend. And, hey, when you get there, who knows what can happen? Who knows what can happen? We'll look at the standings coming up here in just a minute. How about those Vanderbilt Commodores, folks? How about those Vanderbilt Commodores? Getting a 77-72 win. Again, Memorial Magic, been a tough place to play for anybody. I mean, similar to South Carolina. South Carolina did officially get that win. It's what's wild to say. You may be Dave, they just won their first conference game. Auburn could have lost it. South Carolina. Florida certainly could have. Mississippi State certainly could have. I think Alabama's really the only team that went in there and kind of handle business. But speaking of Vanderbilt, it's been a tough place to play. I mean, Kentucky, Tennessee, Auburn, I mean, they got off to a hot start, but Vanderbilt came back and had a chance at the end. But Vanderbilt getting a 77-72 win over Ole Miss. Vanderbilt improves to 18-9, 6-8 in league play. Ole Miss 19-8, 8-6 in league play. Vanderbilt shot 46% from the field, 34% from beyond the arc. Ole Miss 41% from the field, 32% from beyond the arc. I mean, what do we got here? Free throws, 29. I mean, 14 more free throws. It's at home, though. That's what Vanderbilt got. It's kind of the advantage. Vanderbilt, again, improved rebounding team. I say this every show. +7, 37-30 rebound advantage. This was a team in non-conference play. It got out-rebounded by the winless Jackson State team in non-conference. Massive tip of the cap to Mark Byington for improving that. Shows you how good of a coach he is. It really does. Turnovers, 13-11. Both teams weren't really great. I mean, Vanderbilt got out to a 19-point lead. I mean, Ole Miss took it to 2. I mean, was up in the second half. So, I mean, give Ole Miss, Chris Beard credit for fighting back. Ole Miss, I don't know, just not playing their best basketball. Got too big of a hole early. Then get in basketball, you're fighting your way back. It's just tough to get back in it from that perspective. But going to the box score here, I mean, multiple guys at double figures. Devin McLaughlin, Jason Edwards with 15, Tyler Nickel with 13, Chris Mannion with 16. For Ole Miss, 22 points from Malik Dia, Sean Padula. It was a Malik Dia kind of game trying to will them to a victory there. Jalen Murray, Juju Murray with 10. I mean, it's just a tough place to play. That's why I picked Vanderbilt in this game. It's just tough to go win on the road in the SEC. Vanderbilt gets it done at home. Ole Miss trying to fight for that top 4 spot, but at some point you got to get a big road win. I know they already won in Tuscaloosa, but these are the kind of wins you got to go get that the Tennessees, Kentuckys aren't getting, that you got to go take advantage of. And they just didn't. I mean, it's not a bad loss. Ole Miss isn't going to miss the tournament. It just, league standing wise, could hurt you. But what is up next for the Doors? At Texas A&M, Missouri next Saturday, Arkansas at home, and then at Georgia. So it's a tough slate, but I've seen worse. I mean, if we're going to be honest, for Ole Miss, what is coming up for Chris Beard's squad here at Auburn on Wednesday? Obviously, will be tough. Oklahoma at home. It's a game that you feel like they should win. Tennessee at home and at Florida. So 3 of that top 4, very exact same schedule as Alabama, except flip-flop the Tennessee, Florida games, the locations there. So Ole Miss, again, we'll look at the standings, tough games coming up. Again, they're trying to finish that top 4. I think it's a little bit of a stretch right now, though. I think they kind of needed that game tonight if they were going to finish in the top 4. And then finally, one of the more shocking ones today. Oklahoma getting the 93-87 win. It was kind of the first time I've seen Oklahoma kind of flex its muscles. They looked like they had hit a wall for a while. Remember, they were one of 3 teams heading into conference play undefeated. Them, Tennessee, and Florida. They just kind of faded down the stretch. I mean, before today, I mean, they finally picked up their, 4th conference win today? Yeah, 4-10 now. I still don't think they're going to make the tournament, but this is Mississippi State for you. They're playing well over the past week, and then they go on the road and drop one to a team they should beat. I mean, Oklahoma now 17-10, 4-10 in league play. Mississippi State 19-8 drops to 7-7. That's one Mississippi State's probably going to regret looking back on. But specifically this game, Oklahoma shot 52% from the field, 42% from beyond the arc, 39% from the field for Mississippi State, 32% from beyond the arc. Free throw line, Mississippi State, a team it's not usually that great, 86%. Rebounds, Mississippi State plus 11. Turnovers, both teams had double figures, 13-11. And then Oklahoma had this lead up to as many as 14. I mean, State was up 3.5. You thought it was just a bad first half for State. They were going to go wear Oklahoma down. It didn't happen. It just didn't happen. Again, like I said, some of these bubble teams coming back to life. I mean, it's the group of 5 teams I was saying. I think Vanderbilt's about to be alive, but really the teams I'm talking about now, taking Vandy out, Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia, and who am I missing? Arkansas. I mean, all played well. Even Georgia in their loss, I thought played well. But for Oklahoma, 18 points, Jalen Moore, Sam Godwin, 17. Jeremiah Fears kind of getting off that freshman wall. Kind of getting off that freshman 27 points. That looked like the Jeremiah Fears we saw in non-conference. Maybe he's getting older. Maybe he's getting a little more acclimated. Muhammad Ogi off the bench, 5 points. 9 points for Kobe Elvis. For Mississippi State, 19 for Josh Hubbard. 11 for Riley Kugel, just been inconsistent with him. Keyshawn Murphy was 16. Just a tough loss for Chris James' squad. They're really going to – because you dropped to 500 when you could have been 8-6. I mean, obviously you feel better, but just feel a lot better. But what's up next for the Sooners? Coming up, folks, they host Kentucky at Mississippi State – at Ole Miss next Saturday. Missouri at home, and then at Texas to wrap up the season. For Mississippi State, they go to Tuscaloosa on Tuesday night. And then they host LSU, host Texas, and finish up with Arkansas. So it could be a bit of a tough games down the stretch there for Mississippi State. And I apologize, I didn't do a cutout there. Before we get into it, guys, when the game tips off, the NBA action is just beginning on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because FanDuel is your home for NBA live betting. So even if you miss the first few minutes of the game or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can make your picks from the first whistle until the final buzzer. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into same game parlays for a shot at bigger payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join. New FanDuel customers get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today. That's FanDuel.com/SECU for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and older and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is a non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. I appreciate you guys. Two more games to get to. Let's get into this big one right here. How about Arkansas getting the 92-85 win over Missouri? Missouri went in with a 7-point halftime lead. You felt like Missouri just a tidal wave, as I say at times. And I still think Missouri's a really good team. I know you do too, but give Arkansas credit for flexing back. Give them credit. So I think you got Arkansas shooting 54% from the field, 33% from me on the arc. Missouri, 44% from the field, 33% from me on the arc. Missouri had 8 more free throw attempts. Interesting. 18 turnovers and 16 turnovers for Arkansas. 18 turnovers for Missouri, 16 for Arkansas. This was the highest turnovers game. I talked about Bama, Kentucky, but 18 on the road, Missouri. You're not going to win that game. I don't care how well you play. You're not going to win 18. And then Arkansas dominated them in the paint, 44-28. After I thought Missouri played really well in the paint with guys like Mark Mitchell against Grant Nelson and Clifford Amore the other day against Alabama at home. Largest lead, 11. Give Arkansas credit. Improved to 5-9 in league play now, 16-3 overall. Missouri 9-5 in league play, 20-7 overall. Excuse me. That was a game Missouri, I don't know, if they don't finish in the top 4, they'll look back on that one, being up 7 at half. Again, big game from Mark Mitchell still. Big Z again carrying the Razorbacks. It's 20 points, 6 for 8 for the field, 1 for 3 beyond the arc. And Adu Thero, 11 points. I think he's been an underrated guy for him. Carter Knox with 14. Nelly Davis with 18. DJ Wagner with 17. All 5 starters for the Razorbacks finished in double figures. Big night for them. They answered the bell when they had to. They needed it, had to have it. Because, again, they need 2 more wins. I think they had to have it. They needed 3 going to this Final Four. I wouldn't like it for Arkansas. Had to have it. They got it. For Missouri, hey, still a good week. You still got a big win against Bama, fighting for a top 4 finish. 17 from Mark Mitchell, 10 from Tony Perkins, 9 from Tamar Bates, 16 from Marcus Wark. He hit some big threes, 4 for 6 from beyond the arc. Jacob Cruz, 10. Caleb Grill, 13. They kept Caleb Grill in check, 2 for 12 from 3. Give Arkansas and Cal credit for that. That was impressive. That was impressive. That was a big win for Cal and them. They had to have it. Now they got to go back to work, and that work starts with Texas in the midweek. I mean, Texas got two big ones, man. We'll talk about that. I mean, they had two big ones coming up, but Arkansas, I mean, this is a kind of lose or leave town. Both of them need this. They go at South Carolina, which we saw tonight, get teams in trouble. At Vandy, we know it's a monster. And then Mississippi State. No easy slate left for anybody. Very manageable, though. Very manageable. Arkansas can do it. I think they need 2 more conference wins. Could certainly see it. But if you don't go play good basketball, you could certainly not do it as well either. For Missouri, what is up next for the Tigers? I thought Missouri has a very manageable stretch. South Carolina at home, at Vanderbilt, at Oklahoma, Kentucky at home. They could go 3-1, 4-0. Wouldn't you? I mean, toughest game I think is at Vandy left just because of the location of the game. And let's depend. I mean, Kentucky's the last game of the regular season. What is Kentucky's health at that moment? But again, Missouri fighting for a regular season top 4 finish, and then Arkansas getting a big win to stay alive from an NCAA tournament standpoint. Big day for the bubble. Big day for the bubble. Then the final game of the night just wrapped up. We got a first-timer here, folks. We got a first-timer here. We got a first-timer. First-time win, league win for Lamont Paris and the boys. The South Carolina Gamecocks now improved to 11-16, 1-13 in conference play. I haven't been able to say that in any reaction have improved. I always had to say drop, but they get the 84-69 win over Rodney Terry in Texas. Texas now drops to 16-11, 5-9 in league play. Bad loss for Texas. Bad loss. Thought they were starting to play well. That's when it could get you trouble. Now I think you got to go. You really need to go 2-0 next week, but specifically this game, 43% from the field for South Carolina, 33% from beyond the arc for South Carolina. Got after them right out of the gate. 40% from Texas from the field, 31% from beyond the arc. Both teams 35 to 35 rebounding advantage. Interesting from that perspective. Turnovers 12 for Texas, 8 for South Carolina. Wasn't out of control for Texas. Points 13 to 12. Man, it's not wild either. Largest lead 22 points. Like I mentioned, South Carolina got after them. Overall. I mean, just how bad did I mean? Really, I mean, the difference really in this one was you're trying to find it. Just like a glaring. I mean, I had this game on. You're watching it, and you just kept seeing the lead grow and grow. So I'm excited to go back and watch these, like the full highlights. You know, you all go back and get like 14-minute without like the in between whistle stuff. But I mean, you're looking at it. There's nothing glaring here that you're like, wow, that was the difference in the game. I mean, both teams shot 40% from the field. Both were in the 30s, 31, 33% from beyond the arc. I mean, the difference was the free throws. That's it. I mean, South Carolina shot 18 more free throws, went 34 for 45 for Texas's 18 to 27. I mean, that was really the difference there. 84-69 win. Texas tried to fight back in the second half. They actually outscored South Carolina by 3, but I mean, you're down 18 at half. 18 at the half, you're going to get yourself in trouble from that perspective. But for South Carolina, I mean, Kyle Murray Bull has 22 points, 15 Jamore Thomas, 12 for Zachary Davis, 8 Jacoby Wright, 9 for Nick Pringle. I mean, Morris Ugasuk had 10 off the bench. Texas, I mean, Trey Johnson went for 29, but after that, nobody was in double figures. Jason Kent, 8. Caden Shedrick, 8. Julian Larry, 3. Tremont Mark, 7. 0 from Pryor. Onyema, 3. Kaluma, 9. 2 from Jordan Porter. I mean, so literally, it was Trey Johnson tonight. That's all it was. But he was good. 29 points. But it always scares me about Texas. They may be in trouble now. They need 2 more wins. What do they have coming up next? Big week coming up for Rodney. Probably biggest week coming up probably is these two, is Texas right now. At Arkansas and Georgia at home. Got to get it done. I think you really need to win both. And then at Mississippi State and Oklahoma to finish the season off. From that perspective, for South Carolina, just trying to keep chipping away again, not going to make the NCAA tournament, not even going to make the NIT. They're 11-16 now. But at Missouri, Arkansas at home, Georgia at home, at Tennessee, could maybe get Georgia at home. Maybe you can get Georgia at home, maybe even Arkansas at home. Anyone at home. I mean, again, they took Auburn down to the wire. Could have beat Florida, who I think is the second best team in the league right now. So everybody's kind of struggled a little bit, except Alabama at Colonial Life Arena for whatever reason this year. But that's kind of the slate. I mean, that's it for the slate today, guys. Let me share the screen. I'm going to pull up the standings here. go to the SEC. So as we stand right now, yep, this is all updated. Yeah, South Carolina's 1-13. Y'all can see this, right, folks? Yeah. Let me make it bigger for you. Well, I don't know why it stopped sharing. Let's see. Sorry about that, folks. Trying to get you some standings so we can break it down here. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So here we go. Go the end of the night. 4 games left, guys. We got 2 weeks left of basketball. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in. Breathe that in. Feel pretty good about 9 teams getting in, 10 teams getting in the NCAA tournament. Now I'm going to throw Vandy in that officially tonight. Just like I officially said, spoiler, I'm going to move Florida to number 2 in the power rankings. I think you got 10 teams in. You got Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas, I think, fighting for about 2 spots. 1 to 2 spots. 1 to 2 spots. Texas, massive week coming up. That's what stands out, too. And then the race for a top 4 finish. Like Auburn's probably there. Then it's probably Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, A&M, and Missouri. Probably all sitting there fighting for those final 3 top 4 spots. And you can probably feel pretty good about Florida and Alabama potentially. Maybe not because Alabama's stretched down it's so hard. It's so hard. But I do still feel pretty good about them finishing in the top 4. But Auburn sits Han Solo at 13-1, 2-game lead. Florida, Alabama tied at 11-3 at the 2nd place spot. Tennessee tied in the 3rd place spot with Texas A&M right there, and Missouri. So that's an interesting race right there. Interesting race coming up. That's why today's big for was Tennessee getting that big road win over A&M. Ole Miss sits at 8-6 by themselves. Kentucky and Mississippi State sit at 7-7. Vanderbilt 6-8. Arkansas and Texas 5-9. Georgia and Oklahoma 4-10. LSU sits at 3-11. South Carolina 1-13. So I mean, feel good about Auburn probably winning the league. Who's going to finish second? Who's going to get that other 1 seed? Florida, Alabama, Tennessee. Like I said, if Tennessee would have lost today, I think they're off the 1 seed conversation. Them winning, getting that big win at College Station Day puts them in that conversation, especially when they still play Alabama. They still got to play Alabama. So, I mean, they're already done. Them and Florida already split their season series. If you had to say who's going to finish in the top 4 right now, I'd probably say Auburn, Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. I think a tiebreaker over A&M is going to help Tennessee. And Missouri may finish ahead of A&M because Missouri is a little bit of easier of a stretch, I think. That's probably it right there. I mean, I think Ole Miss isn't really going to compete for it. Florida's out of it. I mean, Kentucky's out of it. That's really it. And then you're fighting these. I mean, these teams, Arkansas, Texas, and Georgia right there. And Oklahoma has a little bit of air. A little bit of air. I mean, they got to go. Sorry, I'm looking at their schedule here. I mean, they're getting 3 more wins at least. Kentucky at home, at Ole Miss, Missouri, and Texas. I mean, it's possible. It'll be tough, but it's possible. It's possible. Big week for Texas. Big week for Texas, playing both Georgia and Arkansas here, folks. But no, I mean, really the things to keep an eye on. Does the SEC get 2 out of those 4 bubble teams? 1? If they get 2, I think it's going to be a 12. I don't think the SEC is getting 13. I think it's going to be 11 or 12, if I'm being honest. And I think the top 4 race right now is between Auburn, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, A&M, and Missouri. I think you can cut it off after the 9-5 teams. So you really got what? 6 teams competing for 4 spots. And Bama's probably got the hardest stretch down the line. And you feel pretty good Auburn's probably going to win the regular season. So I think these teams kind of that Ole Miss, Kentucky, Mississippi State, what kind of seed are those teams going to get? Are they going to be in that like 4 to 8, 9 range? And Mississippi State's interesting. That was a tough loss for today. Do they move back in that 7 to 10 range a little bit? Are they kind of 6-ish? Like, again, there's going to be some games away. I mean, they're not playing for much in these SEC standings, but potential NCAA tournament seeding could be big for those teams, folks. But, man, phenomenal night. Again, I see how many corrections 101 says how many SEC teams get into the tourney. I think 11 or 12. Again, I think it's going to come down. I think you can slide Vanderbilt into that 10th team. Because I've been saying for a while, I think 9 you feel good about. I think Vanderbilt's 10th, and it's between Georgia, Arkansas. Who did I say? Georgia, Arkansas, and Texas right there. Am I wrong there? No, who am I missing? I'm missing Arkansas, Texas, I mean, see, I'm counting Vandy now, so I'm going to go Texas, Georgia. I mean, if you want to throw Oklahoma in there, throw Oklahoma in there, just for the sake of conversation right now, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's it. That's the fourth one, Oklahoma. So, yeah, Arkansas, Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma. If 2 of those 4 get in, you have 12. If 1, you got 11. I mean, and you have some like, I think we're going to fight. At least one of Arkansas, Texas, and Georgia will be eliminated from NCAA tournament berth this week, barring some massive run through Nashville to like Saturday in the semis. Because remember, Sad Wednesday now is not just 2 games. Remember, it used to just be 2 games. Now this year, with adding Oklahoma and Texas, there's 4 games. So that's just it's more games you got to go play. But hell, those teams, if they're fighting for an NCAA tournament, sign them up. But I'm just saying, I think at least 1, if not 2, of Texas, Arkansas, and Georgia will be done next week from an NCAA tournament perspective. So that will be interesting overall from that perspective. But guys, phenomenal evening. We got you at 40 minutes, went through all 8 games, reviewed the standings. Big win for Tennessee. I think they were the big winner today. Auburn, Alabama take care of business at home. Arkansas gets a big win. Big bubble day. Big bubble day. South Carolina, no longer, we're not going to have a defeated team in league play this year, folks, but should be a phenomenal 2-week stretch, guys. But remember, this SEC Basketball Saturday Night Reaction is brought to you by our proud title sponsor, FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $150 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet, guys. But for your host, Dave Shumate, hey, look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night to react to all that action as well. But I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday night and have a phenomenal Sunday afternoon as well, folks.